Okay, stop first. You guys who have watched all the Iron Man movies, I never found this scene. Because this was a deleted scene from Iron Man 2. Unfortunately, even though this can at least answer how the process Tony Stark created his new element. Try to pay attention to the hologram. You know what this is? This is the periodic table. Yeah, periodic table like you guys learned in school. We'll talk about what the periodic table has to do. This with his new element, Tony Stark. And interestingly, again, later we will also discuss such tools, what was used by Tony Stark to create this new element of his. Because this has to do with a particle accelerator that's in Switzerland. World's largest science experiment that in 2012, I found the God particle. Because guys, watch this video all the way through. Because this is going to be interesting. And maybe you'll like physics and chemistry even more. Okay, guys, this is part 2 of our discussion about reactor technology, is on her chest. Tony Stark. Yesterday we've discussed that this is a mini fusion reactor, which is the power generation technology of the future, which is also now being built in France. For those who haven't watched it, please watch the previous episode. Well, now we continue our discussion in Iron Man 2. It is said that Tony Stark's life is threatened by its own technology. Palladium. Material used to cross this reactor on its chest, apparently poisoned his body. Therefore, he needed to find a palladium replacement soon.
Unfortunately, the device that's keeping you alive is also killing you.
Well, Tony Stark, then, finding clues after unpacking belongings left by his father. Instructions are stored in this market. And after analyzing it, apparently this is the atomic structure for the new element.
I'm discovering, correction, I'm rediscovering a new element. Dead for almost 20 years. Still taking me to school.
Yep, we have to go back to school to understand what Tony meant stuck with a new element. And this is important for those of you who are studying chemistry. Do you remember this table? This is the periodic table. List of all the elements that exist in the world. Hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, helium, uranium, and so on. You guys can call them atoms, element, or element. In school, you might have been told to memorize it like this. Hi Lena, you took Freddy's Holy Love. By mango. Look for soursop. Bring rambutan. There are different ways to memorize it. But the important thing isn't actually memorizing them, but know what this table does. Important functions of the table. This is to determine the material of all existing technologies. From HP battery, bulletproof vest, nuclear weapons, until his shirt is Iron Man. Speaking of Iron Man's shirt, judging by the material, actually the mention of Iron Man or Iron Man is not quite right.
Iron Man, that's kind of catchy. It's got a nice ring to it. I mean, it's not technically accurate. It's a gold titanium alloy.
The question is, why gold and titanium? Gold, as you guys know, is anti-rust metal. If it's made of iron, yes, the Iron Man is definitely rusty. While titanium is a material that is as strong as steel, but lighter.
Titanium is a super strong, yet super light metal. It even floats on water.
And titanium is safest for the human body because titanium is also a material for doctors to replace broken bones, then a mixture of gold and titanium. This is a fitting material for Iron Man because it's strong, lightweight, anti-rust, fireproof, and safe for human body.
Periodic table?
Rendering periodic tables here.
This scene was supposed to complete the scene of Tony Stark to find a new element, where here, Tony Stark seems to explore every element to replace palladium. But eventually, he came to his senses through his father's clues. If it turns out that he has to create a new element, aka elements that aren't already in this table, is that possible? Not just possible, but even scientists in the real world are doing that. Elements that are colored purple, these are not elements found in nature. It's an artificial element created in a lab. The first element created was Technique Element 43, created during World War II, along with the creation of nuclear bombs. The first one dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Scientists created the first artificial elements during World War II, and they were actually classified at first, and it was only afterward that they were allowed to announce the discovery of these new elements.
Well, so that you understand how an element is created, try to watch this scene.
Drawing. Bake.
Notice that the globe pointed by Tony Stark? These represent the nucleus of an atom. Remember, basically every element on that periodic table is an atom. Inside an atom are atomic nuclei. And the atomic nucleus itself is made up of two types of particles, which are protons and neutrons.
Structure the protons and the neutrons using the pavilions.
Well, the structure of protons and neutrons, this is what distinguishes one element from another element.
Above uranium, nothing exists here naturally. They have more protons in their system than anything that we have naturally occurring.
Sir, this implies a theoretical element not currently found on the periodic table.
When you're creating a new element, the basic idea is that you have a target of something, and you have a beam of something else, and you shoot the beam at the target. Every so often, one of the beam atoms will knock into one of the target atoms, and the two nuclei will fuse together, and you'll get a heavy element after that fusion occurs.
So basically creating a new element is pretty simple. That is by increasing the number of protons. But you guys have to use a tool called a
So we use what's called a particle accelerator, or specifically a cyclotron, which is a large instrument that accelerates ions to a fraction of the speed of light.
This is a cyclotron that's in a lab in Russia. This tool that Tony stuck trying to emulate, so I had to break the wall.
When we make one of these new elements in the cyclotron, we really have to just add up protons.
Inside of this device, proton fired and twirled around so it's close to the speed of light. Then the proton hits a target and changing the structure, thereby creating new elements.
The beam comes from the cyclotron, which is right through that wall, and then it travels all the way down this line here until it reaches our target on the other side.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Tony Stark does. He accelerates a proton and shoots at a target, so that the target, this will change its atomic structure and create a new element.
Congratulations. You have created a new element.
But here, it should be noted, in the original tool, protons don't come off this contraption, shape beam, and shoot the target. Both the proton and the target remain isolated in this apparatus.
Right inside this box, that's where our elements are made.
Yes, the name is also a movie. It wouldn't be interesting if the sun didn't shine, but unfortunately, Tony Stark doesn't tell what the element is called or what the number of protons is. Even this periodic table scene got deleted. Maybe because it's a fictional story. There's no way to step beyond an experiment in the real world. Well, but guys, this Tony Stark device actually doesn't look like a cyclotron, but it's more like a particle accelerator based in Switzerland. Large Hadron Collider. It's the world's largest particle accelerator, whose length reaches 27 kilometers underground. This tool cost Dana billions of dollars and took 10 years to build. Well, but this tool is not intended to create new elements, but is used in the search for new particles. Crazier than Tony's staff, like in 2012, they managed to find what is known as God's article.
A scientific discovery this evening. It is making huge headlines across the globe, something truly historic. Researchers tonight say they think they have finally discovered the so-called God particle.
God particle has been found.
The so-called God particle. It's a theory scientists have been chasing for decades.
We'd be another step closer to knowing where we came from. we'd be another step closer to understanding the universe itself, which is ultimately quite a mystery to us.
But it needs to be straightened out. The particle name of God, or God particle, is actually an exaggerated name. The name of this particle was originally Higgs boson, taken from the name of the person who predicted the existence of this particle 50 years earlier, which is Peter Higgs.
Well, I would like to add my congratulations to everybody involved in this tremendous achievement. For me, it's really an incredible thing that it's happened in my lifetime. It's taken...
God particle is taken from the goddamn particle, aka the fucking particles. Taken from a writer who tells how difficult the particles, this was discovered because the term goddamn, these particles sell less. Then his publisher turned him into a particle god. Okay, guys, that's what we can learn from his new element, Tony Stark. I hope you understand. Well, before it ends, interesting facts about the Large Hadron Collider. Experiments done here serve even crazier purposes, which is mimicking the occurrence of the universe, or known as... It is often called the Big Bang Machine. And the Slater had something to do with Infinity Stones. Hopefully, we can talk about that another time.
Big bangs and 6 elemental crystals huddling across the virgin universe. These Infinity Stones each control an essential aspect of existence.